All right. Looks like this is happening to everybody. I'm gonna wait a minute for some people to come in. Uh yeah, no idea what's going on. All right, all right. People are starting to come back. Yeah. Looks like I got bit by the same bug that got big in. I the error message that came up said that it's YouTube's fault. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait about a minute and then I'm gonna restart. Not restart, but I don't even know what time it stopped for you guys because I started seeing the comments and it's like I'm still watching the video. It's still going on my end. I don't know why it's not going on yours. And then it hit me like, oh, this is what happened to Biggin. All right. Okay. All right. We're back. We're back. That kind of sucks. Restart Stevens? Yeah, I'm going to. I'm gonna restart Stevens. Okay. Let's all right, that's probably the best I'm gonna get with restarting Stevens. All right. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for coming back. I had almost 150 people. Now I'm probably not even gonna get close to that. So I'm really sorry, but I do appreciate you guys coming back. No idea what's going on. YouTube is apparently having a day. Okay. You guys are awesome. Again, I can't thank you enough for coming back. Let's finish this up. We still have about a half hour, like 30 minutes worth of court clips left to play. So we better get going.
24 CR 1662 is now called. Are you Eric Joseph Daigle?
Yes, sir.
This is an initial.
Yes.
Okay. You have been indicted for the third degree felony of injury to an elderly person. Also, you have 2 prior robbery convictions according to the. If all of this is proven true, then you are looking at a second degree felony punishment. You look at no less than 2, no more than 20 years confinement in prison and a fine up to $10,000. Also, you're not eligible for probation if the allegations in this indictment are true. So what is this, an initial appearance?
Yes, sir. This is a case where Mr. Daigle, when you called his name, was not present. We found out after I talked to him this morning, he went next door and had been sitting in the 252nd. He sat there until everybody left. He talked to the bailiff who told him he was in the wrong court. And I believe Miss Jordan talked with the 252nd to verify that he was over there, which is why he was not here. And the court actually forfeited his bond, but it was strictly that I didn't tell him which courtroom to go to.
It's hard is also your honor for my miscommunication.
You might be surprised to know that nobody's ever done that before. Thousands of people who they know where they're supposed to go, but we're going to move forward. So where are we on this?
Judge, this is the first time that I've met Mr. Daigle, and I'd like to ask for 4 weeks so we could see if we could settle the case.
How long have you been known he was your attorney?
For 2.5 months, I believe.
And you've never bothered to even communicate with this man when you're looking at up to 20 years in prison? Are you kidding me? Is this important to you, or is this
Detrimental.
a what?
It's detrimental to me. It's the most important thing.
I don't know if that's the right adjective to use, but nonetheless, it's so concerning to you that you've never bothered to even talk to your attorney. Are you kidding me? Do you? Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a regular person. I'd have probably conducted myself differently.
Yes.
I really.
Yeah, YouTube's been having a lot of fun tonight. They keep closing streamers' streams for just absolutely no reason. It happened to Biggin twice during his stream. Yeah, I mean, it just happened to me. It just closes. That's it. And the warning that I got from StreamYard said it was YouTube's fault. So that's where we're at. If you guys, yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm tongue tied because I don't really know what to say. So just thank you guys for coming back. It wasn't supposed to end. Hopefully we can get through the video.
Yeah, you like everybody else are entitled to make your own choices. So far, your choices have been poor, but it sounds like you need to change your reasoning because you're not making those choices according to your criminal history. What are you going to do today, Dad?
Reset it for 4 weeks, Your Honor.
All right. That shall be done. Do you know how to get here next time?
Yes, I'm on deck.
You're gonna have a hard time trying to explain away not being in here on time next time. Get it reset. And Marcus Johnson?
Marcus,
All right. Let's see if I can get my mind back on track. Okay, we're leaving Texas now. We were Michigan, Texas. Now I believe we're jumping up to Washington now. I believe that's where we're going. This case is interesting. Yep. Now, I think it was DMV said earlier, there's a really good case right after this one, but it's about 45 minutes long. So I'm going to wait a couple days to play that. Mike just played it tonight, so I'm going to wait a couple days to play it. But it's a good one. This one's good too. I picked this one tonight just because of the length. This one's only about 12 minutes long. Didn't want to do a 2-hour stream. Okay, let's go.
Your Honor? No, Mr. Abbey, your connection's not stable. You're breaking up.
God, sorry, Your Honor, I have bad connection issues at where I live by Summit Lake. Is it working okay?
Yeah,
Seems to be on this end.
Yeah, let's see how well it does. For now, it seems to be okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and proceed with your hearing. So let me explain to you just quickly how this works. So what I'm going to do is swear both of you in, and then Ms. Menzies, you're the petitioner here. You'll get to go first and present your case. That means you can testify yourself, you can refer to exhibits that you've previously filed, and you can call any witnesses that you may have brought with you. After I hear from you, then Mr. Abbey, it'll be your turn to do the same thing, testify yourself, point out any exhibits that you think are important, or if you have any witnesses, they can testify. After I've heard from both of you, I'll make a decision on whether or not the protection order that was previously issued ex parte will continue in any form. And I'll explain to you why that is, why the basis for my decision. Okay, so we're going to get started here. Both of you, please raise your right hands. And do you both swear the testimony that you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
All right. Now, Ms. Menzies, you get to go first, and call this as case 24-377. And keep in mind that everything that you filed already, the petition that you filed, is already part of the record. So it's not necessary for you to repeat everything that's been said in writing before or filed before. But go ahead and Ms. Menzies, and tell me your side of it.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have any additional evidence or anything other than what you already have to provide to the court today, nor do I have any witnesses. I just have a prepared statement. This has been extremely difficult for me, so I just want to read this. And
Okay.
I'm requesting this order against Baron Abbey due to the very significant emotional, psychological, and physical harm I've suffered. I'd like to share with the court the ongoing impact that this abuse has had in my life, and why I fear for my safety if this order is not granted. Since experiencing these incidents, the last one being on 9/15, which you have evidence of, that is the last one, but it certainly was not the first one. The physical attacks, the verbal assaults, and the constant fear that I experience have caused me tremendous psychological and physical effects. Anxiety, depression, sleeplessness. I carry a permanent scar on my face from Mr. Abbey. His injuries inflicted on me. I'm fearful that without protection from the court, he will continue to intimidate me, harass me, and spread vicious rumors about me on social media and through my friends and family, preventing me from feeling secure and safe in my daily life. This abuse has affected me in every aspect of my life. I've had a difficult time going to work, working for a full day, interacting with my friends and family, and even carrying out just everyday tasks. Going to visit friends who live in the vicinity of Mr. Abbey, and being fearful that he will see me or find me. I have been afraid to be home alone. I'm just requesting this restraining order, not just for my protection, but also for the hope of reclaiming a sense of normalcy in my life and some security. I fear that without this order, I am going to be at continued risk of harm from Baron Abbey, and I ask the court to help ensuring my safety and granting this order so I can begin to move forward. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Menzies. All right, Mr. Abbey.
Aaron, I'm not going to go as far as saying I don't believe her. I do think she's the victim of domestic violence, and the guy's going to admit to it right here. But I didn't buy the tears. I don't know why. Maybe I'm cold-hearted tonight, but I did not buy those tears whatsoever. But it's not over. We still have a little bit left on this.
It's your turn to tell me your side of it.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Darcel and I had a loving relationship for several years now, and 4 years, and for the last, 2 years or so, she'd been living with me at my home. I began to suspect there was problems though going on, and I had no way to know what they were. So I actually had used some recording device, a high-end recording device, to figure out what went on when I left the home. And I found out some astonishing things, and I confronted Miss Menzies about it, and she would not answer any questions about it. This continued for, something like 9 months. But things were rosy in the garden for the most part. The summer came. We'd go to the lake and enjoy ourselves, and did some crafts and things that we enjoyed. But I started listening to some of these recordings, and things were going on that were inexplicable to me. Number one, she was whispering continuously to people that it made no sense to me, and she would not acknowledge that when I confronted her about that. And it wasn't until after I'd asked her to leave on or about the 15th, I think it was more like the 16th, but that I began to be able to put these recordings on the hi-fi stereo and listen to them and actually get some sense of what was being said in the recordings. I don't wish to go into great detail about what I learned about it, So I want for the welfare for Ms. Menzies to be able to continue working and to not have her life upset in that way. And for that incident she says it was on the 15th. I think it was on the 16th actually. What had happened was we got into a great big argument involving these recordings. Now, on these recordings, I was hearing men come and go into my house, and this would detail by the door opening and the footsteps coming in or going up and down the stairs after I left. And I confronted her about this, and she just said that it was fake, that it was all my imagination. And so we got into a big heated argument about that. And it was near the end of that argument at that time. Mrs. Menzies was very heated up when we were talking about that, and maintained it was none of it was true, which, I had referenced and gone back to some of these recordings, and these things started a year ago, and it upset me greatly that I wanted to find some kind of resolve to this. But I consider myself a very forgiving person. I mean, there's one incident happened in March, sir, Your Honor, that I was convinced that she was cheating on me and or seeing somebody else or something. It turns out I was right. But at the time, I backpedaled and said, I made a statement on Facebook to my shame that because I think personal business should be kept personal, but I'm kind of a loner out here where I live, far from the city. Anyway, to not stray too far from the story, I backpedaled and said, "Oh no, it was all my fault. Sorry, everybody. I love Darcy. She's a good person." And anyway, moving back forward, I found out that this had been going on for a year, and she would not address it. She wouldn't explain to me what was going on. The more I learned about these recordings, and the better I was able to use my knowledge of sound systems and music, which is the only reason, by the way, I was able to create a zip file. And I had to handwrite the other things because I don't have computer knowledge the way Ms. Menzies does, and most other people actually. But it reached a crescendo at that point because I knew that there was men coming and going, and that it was all just whispers. I could only pick up little bits of what was being said and done, and it really upset me greatly. And she continued to deny that, and we got into an argument. At some point, the argument had reached the level of where we weren't communicating very well together. And Miss Menzies just started screaming at the top of her lungs. Almost, I don't really want to describe it but it was like a child that wasn't getting what she wanted. And she was screaming at the top of her lungs continuously. The time between breaths was barely noticeable. And even though my neighbors are about 400 feet away, and we have pretty spacious areas to live out here, but not on the lake, mind you, but up the hill, I had great concern for my welfare, as she sounded as though she was being murdered. And at this point, I didn't know what to do. And so what I thought of was, I saw this cup of water. I reached down, grabbed the cup of water. She didn't seem to be. I was telling her, "Please stop. People would think that I'm abusing you or murdering you or something, and I haven't laid a hand on you." And she kept screaming. It's really difficult for me to try to explain how loud it was, because it was extremely loud as one could possibly scream. And it just kept going on and on, kind of like, only with such high volume. I didn't know what to do. And in fear for my own safety and welfare, I grabbed a cup of water and thought that I could splash some water on her. Maybe she'd snap out of it and come back to earth and quit being hysterical. And what happened was, I grabbed the mug of water. It was an insulated mug. I went to splash some on her, and the mug slipped from my hand, and it bounced right against her nose, and it started bleeding. And I said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. It was an accident." And so I went and ran and grabbed a washcloth, and it was a horrible accident. I had no intention of her being hurt by that. I just wished that she would stop screaming. Well, anyway, we kind of got past that, although I couldn't get past the fact that she'd been inviting men into the house, and it seemed very likely that they were doing something other than just talking. And anyway, so by the next morning, I wanted her to leave that night, actually. But after that happened, I sort of backed off, and she explained to me she would ruin my life if I kicked her out that night. Or if I made her leave that night, not kicked her out. I don't know if that'd be the right term, if I made her leave. And so I backed off. But the next morning, I insisted that she leave because I knew that there had been men in the house, and she promised me that there'd never been any men in the house. She never cheated on me, and all these things that I thought were in my imagination or something. I knew this wasn't to be true, and well, since then, I listened to the tape some more, and at one point, it seemed as though two of the guys that she was seeing, excuse me for a moment, it seemed as though they were poised to go out and shoot me. To my astonishment, when I heard this recording, I was still trying to figure out who were these people she was seeing. And she had called him back and said something like, "It's not the right time yet." And at that point, I was practically horrified. Now, this had occurred 6 weeks earlier, but I called the police then and got a restraining order against Miss Menzies. And I didn't go to the temporary hearing, though, Judge. I had some hope that her and I could work this out between us, and believed that we could do that, in fact, and that wouldn't have to involve everyone else. And I still, I still think that we can work things out. I just know that we can't be together because of the things I experienced. And I'm sorry for her difficulties, but I got a restraining order against her. I felt my life was in danger at that point. I didn't know what her intentions were. I didn't know what the intentions were of these men that had been into my house. She said it had never been there. And but at some point, before the temporary hearing, at that point, we still contacting each other. She was not being responsive to working anything out to resolve the problem that we had between us. And now on that she and that I have training order, which I think is for a lot of one of the people that was holding on at that point seemed poised to go and attack me. Although she ordered him down, it seemed to me too. These things sound incredible, but that's what I heard. And I asked Miss Menzies about it, and she would not explain or give me any answer about anything or admit anything about anything. So we're left at that.
Sister Abby,
Yes.
I want you to kind of stop right here. You're getting to the point where you're repeating yourself, and so I want you to just take a minute or two and close this up, and then I'll make a decision.
Okay. All right. Very well. Well, Miss Menzies, I believe, responded by getting a restraining order against me, since I'd had one against her, and then came up with this list of grievances, things that I had done. Now, she was doing things that she wasn't supposed to be doing while working, in my opinion. And having people in my house, she said that she wouldn't never have. There was never any men in my house except for a couple of times. We lived way out in the sticks. Well, I went back and listened to all the recordings. There was men in the house every single time. And I had a hard time reconciling that. So I just know that we can't be together. I think she ordered the hearing or the protection order as a response to my doing it. And if I hadn't done it, we would have ironed this out somehow, although it would have been bumpy. But that's about where it sits. And I'll hand it back to you, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor, I mean.
All right. Yeah, his internet really started to crap out. If he's got that bad of internet, why is he outside? Go inside. Go stand right next to your router, my man. Just do it. Do it. Yeah, they need to stay away from each other. They really do. I think she's she's dramatic, and he doesn't trust anything. I mean, you print listening devices in the house. Yeah, and then why does he want to get back together with her if he heard, essentially her and some random dude threatened to kill him? Like, come on, man. And then you threw a cup at her face. I don't believe it slipped out of your hand. I don't. Sorry, I don't believe that. Like, just stay away from each other. Just leave each other alone.
I've heard I've heard from both sides. I reviewed the material that's been submitted by both parties. It's clear to me, far beyond the preponderance of the evidence standard that I'm applying, that Ms. Menzies was a victim of domestic violence. That's substantiated not only by the things that she said in her petition and repeated many of them today under oath, but also the photograph that she submitted in support of her assertion that she'd been assaulted. And that photograph certainly supports that. I've reviewed the evidence submitted by Mr. Abbey as well, which consists of some very faint recordings, none of which substantiate anything that he's claimed, and for the most part are not useful because there's nothing that can really be discerned on these recordings. So as a result of this, I'm finding that domestic violence has occurred, and that it is appropriate that an order should be issued and continued. And I will issue that at this time for the next year.
Excuse me, Judge. May I say something?
Keep in mind, I've already made my decision and you've had your opportunity to present your case. This isn't the time to argue, or if you have a question, I may be able to answer it.
Well, she had been holding this over me, that she was going to say this was just domestic violence when she knew it was an accident for 5 weeks now. And she could have called it in.
Mr. Abbey, that's not a question.
Okay. I just wanted to say something. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, again, I don't really buy either one of them 100%. Just stay away from each other. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't cut this off. I think all we have left is the
Protection
judge
order
saying
is in
bye.
effect until 1 year from today, November 12th of 2025. All right, I've signed the order consistently with my ruling. I'm filing it now with the court clerk. It'll be available to both parties from the court's records at any time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay. Understood. Thanks, Your Honor.
All right. Now we're going to move to the last case of the evening. This is the sovereign citizen. Now, he doesn't... See, I'm trying to remember. He doesn't really say a lot of the script today. And this is short. It's only about 5, maybe 6 minutes long. But he tries to go into the same arguments he made last time. You know what? I meant to look up the link so I could play it. Not play it tonight, but put the link in the description so you guys can see the first time he was in court. But he was saying it wasn't like he was doing that's not my name thing. And then he tried to play it off with, oh, nobody calls me that. They call me by my nickname. When the judge started to get angry with him, I was like, you can't represent him. You can't. And I need to go back and look at that so you guys can see the first hearing. It was funny. And then the guy's like, well, these charges should be dismissed. Like, well, the prosecutor hasn't filed the charges against you yet. There's nothing to dismiss. So you got to come back. well, I want it dismissed. There's nothing to dismiss. Like that went on for about 2 or 3 minutes, and that's this guy. This is Judge Collier. Let's go. You know what? Because this isn't very long, I'm just going to let this play out, and I'm going to go look for someone to raid. It's most likely going to be Lone Wolf because I know he's on. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for coming back. I don't know why YouTube and StreamYard are, having a little tip right now, but it happened to Biggin. It happened to me. Thank you guys for coming back after the stream crashed. I do appreciate it. So you guys are awesome. All right. Let's go. Sob sit, Florida man, sob sit. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Well, yeah, you can. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Tell Lone Wolf I said hello, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Until next time, bye.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Come on up.
Your Honor, for the record, I'd like to reserve
What-
my rights
what-
at all times. and,
Okay.
Wavering none.
Say that again.
I'd like to reserve my rights at all times, wavering none.
Okay, you have rights and your rights will be preserved. We'll make sure that they're protected.
Thank you, sir.
Any information in this case yet?
No, Your Honor.
Want to move this to December, our next arraignment docket?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. McDonald,
Object, I
one
believe.
moment, let me,
Okay, sorry.
do you object to moving this to the next arraignment docket?
Absolutely.
What's your objection?
The objection is the defendant. I believe they have 40 days to file the case.
Okay. Where did you get that from?
Is that not correct? I believe it's in the Florida rules,
Okay,
Florida criminal procedure. 40 days from the arrest.
that's not the case.
There's not a case.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. They can file information up to the speedy trial period. The 40-day rule about which you're speaking is for individuals in custody. That if the information is not filed within 40 days, you're in custody, then you're released on your own recognizance. Any other objection to moving this case to December 10th?
Yes, sir. I'd like a motion to dismiss just based on procedural matters. I've sent.
And again,
Oh, you're saying nothing's been
nothing's
charged?
been filed, so
There's
there's nothing to
to
dismiss.
talk about.
There's nothing to dismiss.
I understand.
And if an information is filed, then we'll go through your right to counsel, whether or not you want to seek the office of the public defender or represent yourself or hire counsel. In fact, I'll do that now. Although an information has not been filed, you do have the right to an attorney. You can represent yourself, you can seek the services of the public defender's office, or you can hire private counsel. How do you want to proceed, Mr. McDonald?
I do have a question. How many more times can this go forward as far as the arraignment and then, okay, nothing's charged and then continuing like that?
That's a question that you can answer and ask an attorney, and they will be able to answer for you.
Okay. I'll look that up. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So any objection to coming back December 10th?
I do have an objection.
Okay, Are you gonna seek private counsel, or are you gonna represent yourself, or you want the public defender's office?
I'm gonna represent myself.
Okay, you raise your right hand for me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. McDonald, I have to confirm that you are waiving your right to counsel, and that you're doing so knowing, intelligent, and voluntarily, and also you understand the disadvantages of self-representation. Do you understand that you have the right to an attorney,
Yes, sir.
and you're waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication?
No.
Anybody promise you anything to get you to waive that right?
No, sir.
Anyone threaten to coerce you in any way?
No.
And as far as the disadvantages of counsel, what's your highest level of education?
College.
What, did you complete college?
Yes, sir.
What's your degree in?
Nutrition.
You read and write the English language, I assume?
Yes, sir.
Have any legal training? Do you have any legal training?
No, sir.
Do you understand the rules of criminal procedure?
I'm reading up on it.
Reading up on it?
Yes, sir.
You understand the rules of evidence?
Reading up on that as well.
Reading up on it?
Yes, sir.
You understand that an attorney licensed in Florida understands the rules of evidence, understands the rules of criminal procedure, understands when information should be filed, and if the information is legally insufficient, what motion they can file to challenge that. You understand that?
I do.
You understand that without an attorney, I'm going to hold you to the same level as I would an attorney in this case? You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that I cannot help you out? I cannot answer any of your legal questions. I cannot give you any legal advice.
Yes.
Do you understand that you are at a disadvantage by representing yourself when the assistant state attorney has been doing this for almost 20 plus years. And that if you want to seek the services of the public defender's office, Mr. Brian Hill has also been doing this for decades and understands the rules of evidence, criminal procedure, and the law in the state of Florida.
Yes, sir. I understand. Thank you.
And you understand those disadvantages of self-representation?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to go forward representing yourself?
I do.
All right, I'm going to find your waiver of counsel is knowing, intelligent, and voluntarily made, and that you understand the disadvantages of self-representation, and you're making that decision. And we'll go forward to December 10th. I'll overrule your objections. We'll move this case to December 10th at 9:30.
Right.
Mr. Ramey?